Hi everybody, this is Julissa. Thank you so much everybody for coming back to my channel. Thank you so much for everyone who listens in the podcast. It is June 24, 2024, Monday. I wanted to come here and speak about this story that I recently read about a couple days ago, but I was like, that is shocking. And I think that is another sign of the time, because when you see acts like this happen within your office space, like with along co-workers, you think that usually happens like in like early school years, right? But it happened with people in basically in leadership positions. So, in case you didn't hear this story yet, but a lawmaker secretly was pouring water into a colleague's bag for 5 months before she was discovered. Okay? Imagine every day you come to your office space, to your workplace, and you leave your bag, your belongings, you leave it. There's like usually a session for it. I have done this when I used to work in an office. I used to work at a store. We had like a little coat hanging type of area, and we would leave our purses, we would leave our coats. Speaking about that one time, I remember clocking out from work and looking for my coat, and I was like, "Where's my jacket?" And I'm like, it took me so long. And actually, somebody actually wore my jacket and walked out. And I was thinking to myself, I will only come to work with my jacket and leave my keys inside my pockets. And I'm like, nobody's gonna touch it. I don't want to bring my purse in here, all of that. When you work in stores, they usually have to do a back checkup. And I'm like, when I'm ready to go, I don't want to wait for that or wait for a supervisor to be available. So I'm like, I'd rather just walk in with my keys and put it in my jacket and then be ready to leave when I'm ready to go. But it's so crazy. One time, somebody walked out with my jacket, with my keys and everything. And it took a long time for them to figure out they had their own jacket and to actually come back. And I remember just waiting there, trying to figure out who did it. But in this case, this particular case, this guy was noticing that his bag and his belongings in his bag were wet for days, and like every day they were wet. He's like, he couldn't understand what was going on. And like I said, this happened for 5 months. Somebody plotting something against you for 5 months. I don't know if you guys remember, I don't know if it was late last year, I did a video about this neighbor who was tired of complaining about noise or something, and he was putting chemicals under the door of somebody in their apartment building, under the door of their neighbors in their apartment building. I'm like, who? Like, that's what people are thinking in their minds. They go to these big jobs and they have these big titles, and then they go home at night thinking, what they're gonna do evil to a neighbor. Especially when the Bible speaks about how you have to love your neighbor. But the Bible also says in the last days the love of many will grow cold. And it's just crazy. This is just another example of things to come. People are not, I mean, why would you go through that effort to wet somebody's belonging every day? And if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm gonna see if I can play the video, because this guy noticed that it was happening too often. It was just out of place, and he's like, I'm gonna put a camera. And he got a nanny cam, like I was talking about yesterday. He got a nanny cam, and he recorded and he caught whoever was doing that evil things to him. So let me read to you this article. Lawmakers secretly poured water in colleagues' bag for 5 months before getting caught on video. And he said he was being tormented. Let me read to you here. She has apologized for the to the colleague after she was caught on camera pouring water into his bag. The bizarre behavior reportedly occurred on several occasions over the course of 5 months. Her name is Mary Morrissey, 67 years old, and Jim Carroll, 62, are both from Bennington and are members of the Vermont House of Representatives. I don't know what's jacking here, that they are in these big leadership positions or their age, because like, who does that? Like I said, things like this, you will see kids doing that at kindergarten, at daycare, throwing somebody's belonging across the way. That's like very childish behavior. And these are people in this big, House of Representative stuff. That's what you were doing to your colleague. That is crazy. I tell you, there are so many adult bullies walking around acting like they're normal. It's crazy. Again, her name is Mary Morrissey. On Monday, June 17th, Morrissey, she issued a public apology. And, all of these apologies only come out when they get caught, right? When there's proof that they can no longer deny. She got caught red-handed. This guy was smart enough to put a camera and caught her dumping the water inside his bag. That's crazy. Like I said, I'm gonna see if I can put the video here so you guys can see it. On Monday, June 17th, last week, she issued a public apology to her fellow lawmaker after Carol set up a video camera behind a scarf on the wall to try and catch her in the act after noticing his bag was wet on multiple occasions. She said, I'm truly ashamed of my actions and she called her behavior disrespectful. Oh, you think? She confirmed she had apologized to Carol and that they were working together on resolution restarting the uh, legislative process for the outlet. For 5 months, he said, I went through this he said this during the Vermont State House meeting, adding it was a torment. I'm laughing because you think this state representative will have better things to do, right? And if this happening in people with such intelligence, right? That's what I'm getting at. Like the age, the intelligence, people in leadership, running for office, they are praised by their town. They have people voting for them and all of that, and then they're doing this to their all other colleagues. That's crazy. And it tells you how the love of many will grow cold. And I know people might think it's just somebody being evil, but it begins by that. It begins by putting water into somebody else's belongings, and then you perhaps might do something to their food that they leave in their fridge that everybody shares. That's why you have to be aware. Always pray before you eat, right? It could be anything, right? It could be anything. If they don't get caught, who knows, right? Who knows where they could take it. And then it says here, he eventually secretly recorded Morrissey, and despite her face not being seen in the video, she was identified by her hair. Um, she's facing right now an ethics investigation after soaking Carol's belongings, citing multiple sources familiar with the situation. So I guess they're saying that she could face some type of ethics investigation. Early this month, Angela Arsenault told the outlet that she has been on video showing Morrissey leaving her steakhouse committee room and putting a cup of water into Carol's bag. It was jaw-dropping. It was bizarre, and that's why I kept saying why. So everybody was so shocked to find this out. You really don't know how people are. I'm laughing because I witnessed something too, where I used to work. Like I said, in this kind of retail environment, I remember just minding my business in the break room, and I noticed some kid just comes and he's basically going through everybody's lunch. And he opened somebody's sandwich and took out, the meat inside the sandwich and ate it. And I was like, "You're having lunch? It's 10 in the morning, right?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "That's your sandwich?" He said, "Yeah." And I know the bag where he got that from um was it has somebody else's name. I'm like, that's crazy. So I went and told I'm like, I gotta say something. This guy put his finger on somebody else's food and actually took from that sandwich and wrapped it up and acted like nobody saw anything, but I was just sitting right there, right? And I'm like, that is crazy. I'm like, I'm never putting my food in this fridge ever again. That's why you have to be so careful, man. You have to be so aware and so careful. So let's see if we can watch the video here. If you are listening in the podcast, feel free to search for this story, okay? And you'll be able to see the video. You can come here to my YouTube channel and take a look. Let me know what you guys think about this. And if you have any story to share, please leave a comment. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming back to my channel and listening in the podcast. Have a good day. God bless.